say.
Well, she's been your librettist for a long time. She writes a lot of the texts. And how does that work? Does she suggest something? Do you ask her about a topic? How do you work together?
Well, being that we were in college together, we both had some teachers that really made a great difference in our lives.
Yes.
And I was forced to take a course in religion in order to graduate.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's, I can't think of the word when it's necessary.
A requirement for graduation.
And,
amazing.
then there was another one that was wonderful. It was world literature and art.
Right.
So some of our first conversations were about those classes. And the religious ones were so important to me. And I tried to avoid that class. And it's just been with me all my life.
This time. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to tell you, I have a friend who was in the children's choir at the Washington, D.C. Cathedral, and she said that she sang The Light in the Wilderness when it was first done in Washington, D.C. back in the 60s.
At the National Cathedral.
At the National Cathedral.
Yeah. Was she in the choir?
She was in the children's choir.
Oh, there's a children's school
that
adjoins the cathedral.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, they were wonderful young people.
It really made a big impression on her.
Yeah.
That's great. So I also heard this story about Barack Obama having heard a performance in Hawaii when he was a youngster of La Posada, La Fiesta de la Posada. Do you know anything about that story?
Yeah, I do, because it's in his book.
In his memoir?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he came because his father saw me. I was going to play with the orchestra, the symphony orchestra, and my sons were going to play with me.
Wow.
So maybe it worked that he would bring his son to hear me with my sons.
I see.
And it worked out that Barack probably never saw his father again.
Amazing.
He went back to Africa, and that was the last, that time they were together. And
wow, that's amazing.
it is amazing.
And you've just met Barack Obama.
Oh, at the White House, yeah.
Yes.
And he talked a little about that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's great. That's really great. So I wanted to ask you, because on the cover of the CD, there's a picture of you at the piano with a pencil. And I was just wanted to ask you about how you compose, especially this choral music.
That's a picture called The Red Pencil.
Yes.
Just a friend of mine just saw me making notes backstage and took that picture. It's so different because there's nothing there except me with a red pencil.
Right. You remember that event.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And so when you're writing the music, do you sit at the piano, or are you sitting at a desk and writing from memory, or?
I've had to learn to write on the road because that's where I live.
Right.
Thank God it's less and less now.
Yes.
I'm able to go to a piano and have a table. But I learned to write on trains, band buses,
right,
airplanes. And I'm not it's perfect that my teacher, Darius Mio,
Oh, yes.
never ever proofread. He wrote in ink and sent it to the printers. And
That's bold.
he did it.
Amazing.
And he turned out more music. He's like a Mozart.
Right.
Yeah.
He was really prolific. And so are you.
Oh,
You have
No.
so much music.
well, I keep trying. Yeah.
Well, and you've just had a recording session, so it's
Oh, I'm-
continuing.
I'm really recorded out this week.
That's great. So when you're writing, like you get a text from Iola, you've talked about it. When you're sitting down and trying to think of what the music should sound like, it seems like you really respond to the rhythm of the words.
Yeah. There's different ways that make me want to write.
Mm-hmm.
And the death of my nephew, my brother Howard, the composer,
Yes.
his son died when he was 16.
Oh my.
And I wanted to comfort my brother, so I wrote my first religious piece. It's called Let Not Your Heart Be Troubled, Ye Believe in God. And
It's a perfect text.
the head of Shawnee Press,
Mm-hmm.
Ernie Farmer and Marge Farmer, great musicians both. They saw that and they said, Dave, you ought to write more choral music.
Ah.
And I said, right, really? And they said, we see choral music all the time.
Right.
That's what we do.
Exactly.
And you should write a whole piece. And I got into the light in the wilderness.
Right.
And Iola would feed me texts. And there's so many kind of funny things that just popped in my head.
Right.
As she fed me one day a text, and I was in the studio at the piano, and I looked at it and I thought, that's interesting. I'll set that. And I was working on it, and my daughter came in and said, what are you setting there, Daddy?
That's right.
And I said, well, Iola just gave me this text.
Yeah.
Oh, she said, do you know what that is? And I said, no. What is it? And she said, that's one of the most set texts in the world.
Amazing.
And Bach said it, and Mozart, and everybody. And here I was, unaware.
In a
It was-
long line.
It was the Magnificat.
Oh, of course.
I didn't even know it. I just, well, here's, set this, and
Right.
start writing.
Yeah.
And I put that in 12 tone
Why'd you make that choice?
because Mary
Yes.
is 14 years old, they
Mhm.
say. And the rest of the piece is more conventional.
Okay.
But here, this 14-year-old girl has just been told she's going to be the mother of God,
Right.
Jesus. So this should be 12 tone and difficult.
Wow.
And it is difficult, but when soloists really get it down, they love it.
And it makes some sense as a melodic line.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's great.
So I never know next what I'm going to do or why. But somebody will give me a text and
And just spark something.
hopefully,
Yes.
yeah.
That's great.